Good morning. Jaffrey's Last Dance, the channel where we're making it to the heart. I declare the 2020 decade, the decade of the heart, the decade where we all begin to emphasize the fact that we need to get more heart center into our living and into our lives. It's the most important thing that the world needs, the earth, Mother Earth needs right now. 2020, the decade of the heart. I've spent many decades, 150 decades, well, many decades, pretending I was alive. That's all I was doing. To an extreme degree. I imagine most of you have did that less to a degree, but just pretending I was alive. You know, going through the motions and wondering what it was all about. I really can't wait to get the hell out of here. Okay, that's what my life was like. Okay, decades of just that. You know, I don't know how it was so unnourishing and unsatisfying. And so I've made this commitment here to myself and have been working at this to have my life make more sense as a heart-centered human being. Okay, because I'm getting no sense as I sit in my mind. So there. Okay, and I want you to come with me. Just observe. You may not want to do it right away, but it's going to have to be done. Okay, we don't get to the fifth dimension as an ego-driven, false self, dualistic human being, or it's not going to work. We're not going to vibe at that vibration level, and we have to do this. And that's all there is to it. Okay. Okay, now let's, when I say, especially with this lady down there, I say that, you know, it gives you a chance to express your love in a more encompassing way, in a larger way. We have love for people that don't behave toward us, you know, in a way we would like, or not expressing themselves in a way that we think, you know, is worthy of our love. You know what I mean? Now, when I say that, I want to be clear about something. I'm not really in the love vibration right now. I'm not in the love stream right now. Okay, so the love, I'm just doing we must just do the best we can when we come across these situations to expand our idea and our cast of love. Okay, that we aren't, as we begin this, we aren't going to actually be expressing love and radiating love. Okay, I am not radiating love. Okay, I don't have that love activation in me just yet. So all of us, just do the best you can and with what you've got and where you're at. Okay, you just do the best you can with it and try to mimic really, for lack of a better word, the love vibration, even though we're not really wholly in it, okay? And I'm admitting that to you right now. I'm not wholly in it, but I'm just doing the best I can with it, okay? And that's all we can do until we begin to refine our energies, so someday we'll plug into that frequency, that stream frequency of love, and begin to really emanate the vibration of love, okay, which is what we're all headed toward and going to achieve. So we just model it as best as we can from wherever we're at, okay, and move forward that way. Okay, let's talk about the purity of the heart, for the woman's heart, for a second. There was a Snow White remake, a real movie remake of it, and there was a big dust up. Rachel Ziegler is her name, was going to be the star, and she came out saying that you know, it's not going to be the same story it was, that in that story the prince was a stalker, you know, she was accusing him of being, and that it's not going to be waiting for the prince to save her. She was going to become the best leader she knows she could be, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so that's a good example of what I'm talking about. What that is that Rachel, young lady, was really sullying the nursery, or not nursery rhyme, the story, with her being inundated with the jargon of the day. Okay, for her to declare that the prince was a stalker, you know, and other such things. that's a good example of what the ideologies these days are making women out of, and how they don't really get that the beauty of that story, as well as Cinderella. Kenneth Branagh made a Cinderella, much in the same way they're going to do Snow White, but Kenneth Branagh did Cinderella. He stayed true to the story, and he really did do a magnificent job. I think that's a wonderful movie. It stayed true to the story, and it stayed true. Both Cinderella and Snow White are rhymes, or I'm forgetting the word, but they are alike in that both Cinderella and Snow White are examples of women with a pure, loving heart, spiritual heart, that are unusual in a way. Now, those are stories, and we understand that most women have different aspects to them, and they're not going to live up to really the examples that they are setting. But some do. You can't run into women that do have that subtle pureness about them that is stark and very pleasing to come across. So he stayed loyal to the story, because he's smarter than these Disney people that want to, if you want to do a different story, do a different story. Go ahead and make up something different. You know what I mean? But as Snow White, the beauty of the story is the purity of Snow White, the purity of yin energy that she represents, that this world so so much needs. And Rachel is like bitching it all up, with her jargon that she's been privy to these days, that the feminist stuff, that women want to be leaders and be the which somewhat, yes, but not all women are destined to be a great leader. I would say relatively few, in a way. Although I like to see women leaders, strong, good women leaders when we can, that's been true of everything they've done. Disney's done, the woman strong leadership, blah 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 blah, and perhaps it's time for that to come to the fore. Fine, but that's all we've been hearing. On all these stories, and frankly, I'm a little bit sick of it. I love Snow White just the way it is, and most of us, don't want to, we're all pissed off at her because she's like blowing it. You know what I mean? We don't want to see that change. You want to make a different movie, you make a different movie, but we want to see the purity of Snow White. And we don't want to see a Snow White that's all ambitious and wants to make her mark and lead her mark and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not necessarily saying that's bad, but it's just not the story. And the fact, and the truth is this: the purity, like I was saying in the last video, the purity of a woman's heart is the most valuable thing cosmically here on Earth. It's more valuable and more powerful than her becoming the leader that she needs to be, and blah blah blah, and making her way and blah, all that sort of stuff. Actually, the pure example of a woman's heart, the purity of her soul and spirit coming through, the way Snow White. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember her singing and birds and she's just so sweet and so. It's a penetrating, powerful story in that sense, more powerful than her becoming a great leader in a certain sense, you know what I mean? And all of the things she's going to have to do to make that happen. And that's the truth of the matter. That's even more than my opinion. And that's what's really missing these days, is understanding those subtleties of the other realms that women represent, in their yin heart-centeredness that is so attractive, that is so unmasculine in a certain sense, in that feminine way of these types of women. And it's like I say, it's a story, and a few women are going to be like Snow White, especially these days. But that's what we have to start thinking of. Those are we have to getting back to that sort of idea of the beauty and sensitivity of the yin energies and the feminine heart. Okay, that's what's missing. We're trying to plug them into a man and have all that leader, stuff, which is, I'm not necessarily arguing against that. I'm just saying that the purity of a woman's heart represented in the original Snow White story is the most powerful thing right now on earth. They're one of the most. And we mustn't forget that, okay, in all this stuff that we're going through. I just wanted to make that is a good example of what I was talking about in the last video. Okay, now let's return to the 9 letters of Christ for a minute. I have a couple more things said about the list he had of all those things that he came up with. Just a minute. Calm down. Slow it down. Always trying to slow it down. See? Spaces. I listened to some of these casts, and the people have actually gotten someplace there, very slow and deliberate, and they have spaces in their speech. See, and that's the tell of a developed spirit, really. Okay, 9 letters of Christ. What that represents, what this list represents. Let's go over it one more time. The negative aspects, the false self aspects of negative ego that are within us. Criticism. Undue criticism. Like I say, there's a fine line between observations and criticisms, and you have to be careful with that. But criticism. Okay, undue criticism. Let's just say that for now. Sarcasm, judgmentalism, rejection, denigration, enmity, intolerance, hatred, jealousy, aggression, violent impulses, thievery, falsehoods, double and devious dealings, and slander. Okay, this is a list of what represents in us. That's the duality in us. That's what the normal human consciousness is dealing with. These things on the one hand, and then we want to be decent human beings, loving, kind, generous, helpful, accepting, inclusive, all those types of things on the other end of it. So we're bouncing. That's the duality within us. Okay, there's a duality in this world we're living, and the representation of that duality within us are these things right here. Okay, and it's just a representative of that of a false self, a false negative ego self that has us involved in these types of things that are going to keep us out of the unity of the heart, okay, or spiritual progression, okay. As long as we're entertaining these types of things, we're not going to really spiritually progress, all right, because it will be wasting. It keeps us in a stasis. Oh, there's a beautiful little bird down there. Birds are really. It keeps us in stasis, okay? And it's not going to allow us to progress as long as we are entertaining this list of things that Jesus has come up with in his 9 letters of Jesus Christ. Paramahansa Yogananda was on a boat, and he was with a lot of American pastors and ministers, okay, and rabbis. And they asked him to speak. Okay, so he got up there, and he, like I say, he waits for the flow. He doesn't plan anything. It's fascinating. He waits for the flow. And so he was up there, and they were all there, and it took him a while to plug into the flow and to say, give a 20-minute speech, whatever it was. And the pastors and ministers started snickering. Okay, and he finally did make the connection. God, I'll give a beautiful speech, and that was that. But the first thing I thought of when I heard that story is, what are men of God doing snickering? Men of God don't snicker. They don't judge. They don't do any of these things. And that's the difference, by the way, of a yogi and our religious men. Okay, they try the best they can, but any man of God that snickers is not really a man of God. It's just that simple. Any man of God that hates or has, and not to say that there are going to be, even when we progress, there's still going to be residues of those types of things as we flush them out of our system. But that was my first thought is, what are ministers and pastors doing snickering? And that's the thing. Yogis don't do any of those things. Okay, they're men of God. Paramahansa Yogananda was a man of God, and he was so different than what we would think are men of God in our churches these days in America. It's just night and day, and that's what I was pointing out when I was saying that yogis are the ones, and our pastors, ministers in this country. There are some good ones, some better ones, some not so good ones. Priests, let alone the priests, molesting. Holy shit! I don't know why we haven't kicked the Catholic Church out of this country altogether. But that is the difference in the Western style as opposed to the Eastern style. They know what they're doing over there when they come across a developed human being. They know how to measure that, and they don't indulge in these types of things here. Our men, our pastor, they do, and they don't know that they shouldn't. They're stupid, really, in a way, and so that's what keeps us in that inner dual world. Hunter Thompson, or any man that you read about that had done some good works, but yet remains a human being, trapped in an ego mind, vacillating from these things here: violence and hatreds and judgments and sarcastic remarks, and then wanting to be a kind, good man, supportive of those around him, and loving, and this and that. They're like I say, in that sense, they're no different than we are, and they've done nice things. John Lennon, I've pointed that out, or John Lennon or Bob Dylan. They're just men caught in that dual egoic world, bouncing from one side to the other at whim. Who knows what instigates it, but you'll never make progress in a human sense, especially the progress we need to be making that's so important right now, as long as you stay bouncing around and entertaining these types of things, not knowing that you have to be starting to whittle them out as we meditate and energize and do the practices that we do. We have to whittle out these types of things, and I saw that so clearly in some of these spaces I've got into, and that's what we have. That's what he's talking about. Jesus is in with this list of things. Okay, they're unacceptable to people that want to call themselves children of God, or it's hard to. I've said how important it is to begin to invigorate our sense of our own personal innocence. How can you be innocent indulging in these types of things? Rejection, denigration other people, enmity toward others, intolerance, hatred, jealousy. How do you maintain your innocence in the face of those types of things? It's difficult to do. And so we can't move spiritually and vibrationally upward into these new streams and plug into these new streams of consciousness as we move upward, as we engage in these types of behaviors right here. This is the enemy. This is what keeps us where we are. Okay, and that's the bane of humankind, are the fact that we have this false self-egoic, negative ego identity in us that has us bouncing around from one thing to another in an unsatisfying way, leading an unreal life. That's what I'm saying when I was saying I was just pretending I'm alive. We're pretending we're alive when we have this unreality that we're modeling for the world as we bounce around the one side of these and then the other side of the positive traits that we would like to be, and that is what is being referred to here, and that's why it's going to keep us out of, as we here on this channel want to get to the heart center. That's going to prevent us from doing that. Okay, the heart center won't be tolerating. If it was a being, if we could think of it as a being, possibly we could. And these type of things, as we indulge in them, are going to keep us out of that heart center as we endeavor, all of us endeavor to become a heart-centered human being first, and a mental human being second. That's what I'm advocating here. I'm just saying that we have to reverse what we've got going on now, okay? The mind and all its ways are the second, are number two. Number one is the heart in all its ways. That's where everything is. That's where God is. All the spiritual beings you're going to find them in your heart, and that's where that is spiritually happening. Okay, in your heart. That's when your life begins to make sense as you begin to open that heart and you become authentic and tender and humble, really humble. Paramount Yogananda was a very humble human being. Humility and being humble is a very powerful thing. We think it is not powerful because of the way we think of humility, but it is actually a very, very powerful place to be. And I've experienced it before with the help, and I'm telling you, I felt extremely powerful that way because you're unafraid. And you don't hide. You don't have anything to hide anymore, and you're not afraid someone's going to say something that's going to tip you off your center. And these types of things. Humility is a very inclusive, inner inclusive thing too. You want to include all these aspects of yourself that you want to keep to the periphery because you don't like that they're there and they interrupt your view of yourself. Humility allows them all back in. You're not threatened by them anymore. You look at them and you're going to go, I'm going to have to fix that. Okay, or that's not me anymore. That's what you think of. And that's how powerful humility is. It's a very wholesome reality, the humble, tender, authentic reality. And you begin then to fall into a sense of authenticity, which is when I say that I was pretending I was alive the decades. No sense of authenticity, none. There wasn't a real thing in sight within 100 miles of my life because I just didn't feel real. Okay, I felt like I was encased in plastic and nothing really felt real. And I know you guys feel that same way. No, I had it worse than you did. But I know all of us struggle with that, and that's what we need to alleviate. Okay, so let's hold it right there. I'm trying to keep this short. I know we're all happy about that, but I wanted to brush on that and make sure we all get a better view and picture of what these things represent. And I'm personally recommending check out 9 Letters of Jesus Christ. They're powerful stuff. You can just sense the spiritual power of these letters. As I'm doing it as someone is reading them. I'm just you can probably get the book somewhere, but I'm just plugging into each of the videos, and it is powerful stuff. It truly is. It's amazing. Okay, that's it basically. Funny thought of the day. Okay, I was living with this person one time, and we were bringing a Christmas tree home, and I tore my shoulder badly. I fell, I slipped, and I haven't healed it to this day. Plus, I've stressed it out playing tennis for 30 years, that whole thing. And we had a Christmas tree. I go, look, pull next to our apartment right here quickly, and I'll help you carry that tree up. She goes, no, I don't want to. I want to go park at my thing. I go, look, I can't carry that tree that far. Okay, I can do it here, but I got a torn shoulder, and I just can't do it. And she goes, well, it's all right. I'll do it. I go, are you sure now? If you do that, I'll take it down at the end of the season, But fine, you we'll do that then. I'm saying, when I make a deal with a woman, I make a deal with a woman. I don't, that's the deal. Now you're going to do it. So I'm at the top of this door. Here she comes up the stairs, carrying the tree. She looks like Quasimodo carrying that Christmas tree up the stairs, all hunched over, and the tree was just like bouncing up, up and down. You couldn't even see her. But it wasn't that big of a tree. It wasn't that big of a deal. This guy comes walking by, and he looks at her. And he goes, "Oh, you need some help with that?" And then he looks up at me, and I'm sitting at the top of the stairs with my hands in my pocket, and he looks at me, he's with his girlfriend. And he looks at me, and I'm looking at him, and I go, God damn, this looks like shit. You know what I mean? Here I am watching her carry the tree up, and this is funny look. And so after the incident was over, in my head, I go, I carried the conversation on into my head. I go, no, buddy, don't worry. She doesn't need any help. You should see what she could carry. I mean, it was partly why I fell for her. You know, she's like have my own little pack animal. I remember that. Have your girlfriend here. Watch it. Well, you're not gonna believe this. Have your girlfriend jump up on that tree. Okay, watch this. And you can watch what this one can carry. I mean, it's partly. I fell for her really because she can just, you know, she's really great that way. You know, well, you know, no, you don't have her jump on there. Okay, fine. Okay, Merry Christmas to you. Huh? It was Christmas. Yeah. Merry Christmas to you. Then, honey, say Merry Christmas. That's how I carried on that conversation. And it was a funny scene. It really was. And it made me look like crap. I hope that guy left and never came back ever again. so there. That's it. My name is Jeff Africa, citizen of Earth, loyal patriot of the United States of America, and I stand unafraid. And these four, Paramahansa Yogananda, Jeshua Ben Joseph, Mother Earth, Divine Mother, I've chosen them to get me to where I want to go here. I want to be a heart-centered human being, living that heart-centered reality where my life makes sense and I know what I'm doing. I'm not subject to all this social illusion complex that forces things on me. I've figured out who and what I am. And you can't do that in the mind. You can get a little bit of help from the mind, but you can only do that really as a heart-centered being. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to know who I am. I'm going to know what I'm doing, which I'm not going to pretend like I'm alive anymore. I'm actually going to be alive, living each and every moment of every day in love and in joy, in the mystery, in the magic, in the majesty, in the stillness and the spaciousness of a heart-centered life. And I'm going to love my life. And that's all there is to it. I've had enough of the crap of living in the mind. You got it? So thank you very much. And we got some very interesting things coming up here. And I'm going to give you a report card on exactly how much progress I've made over the last 10 years, let's say, with this trek of mine. All right? All right. Thank you.